Live Impact Seminar. We've had this for the past 5 years. This is the sixth one. And the first one, we actually had this in an hotel. And the following after that, we had those in our own home. And then the sixth year, we're having it here in this building. We're making it like public for everybody that we know they can gain some kind of knowledge to be part of what we're doing. And next year is also going to be outside somewhere. And we're also going to bring a guest speaker. Like we're doing today, we have someone coming to speak to us about finance. Not really finance, but creating wealth creation. And you will see why that is really necessary when we start getting deeper into this teaching. Why the finance aspects is very important in what we are doing. Now, what I'm going to encourage you to do is make sure you pay a very serious attention to some of those things I'm going to share today. It's very important. It's the blueprint. It's going to really help us to know how to function in the future where we're going to. So, let me start by showing you what we do as an organization, Live Impact. We impact families by elevating the family as the core of the society. We believe the units of the family is what make the society to be what the society is. Every family constitutes to the society. Without the family, there is no society. So that's why if we have one disgruntled family, one person from a very damaged family can destroy the whole community or city. So it's very important. When you want to take care of a community or take care of a nation, you go deep into the family. You take care of the family first, because that's the very cell that make up the society. So we believe the family is the core of society with extreme values to build the next generation. So if I'm invited to your home, what I do is I try to teach the family. I try to teach the family. You're welcome. Have your seat. Thank you for coming. Oh, you're welcome. Good to see you. Yeah. So this is what we do as an organization. We impact families and we impact learning institutions. Anybody that is in learning institutions, like students, what we do is to provide knowledge for personal development and self-determination for advancement through creative dreams and imagination. Not only to go to school and learn how to be a good student, that's not only it. But while you're a student in school, you have to have this creative power to be able to plan a successful future. If not that, what you're going to do is you will attend school and get out of school, then you'll be looking for a job. You're like, hi, I'm a first class student from University of Texas. Hey, sir, can you employ me? I'm a very good student, but I don't have a job. But what did you do for the 4 years that you're in college? We just learned how to read and how to write. They didn't teach you how to create anything. You don't have a creative imagination. You can't even have anything. No, sir. I was just hoping to have a 4.0 GPA and come and look for a job. That's what's plaguing the society today. Everybody want to go to college. Everybody want to have a degree. But none, it's just a few that understand how to develop their creative dreams and imagination. So that's what we do. We provide the knowledge for students to learn how to be that. Without that, the society is not going to move forward. And also, we deal with businesses. And that's what we do with business. We provide knowledge to create economic stability and wealth creation. If you are in business and you don't understand how to leverage and how to scale your business, you're just going to be a local business person for all the rest of your life. Nobody's going to know you. And you see families that have been in business for generations, and they'll say, "Wow, we have this pizza business, and we've been doing it for my great grandfather, about 10 generations." But nobody knows you globally. Why? Because it's the lack of knowledge on how to scale the business and how to develop yourself and how to make yourself a global power. And that's what we want to do today. What we're trying to do today is to teach about the blueprint. For the next 25 years, you need a blueprint to get into the place where the world is going to. The world is moving in a very fast, dynamic way, but individuals are like on a slow pace. And how are you going to catch up? You can't catch up with the system of the world except you have this deep knowledge of what should I do at this particular point in time? How do I live life at this particular point in time? And then if we're dealing with government agency, this is what we do. We try to teach people how to understand purpose, potential, and become excellent in what they do. I was working for the government at a point in time. A lot of people you work with, they're not really competent. They don't really understand purpose. They don't even know what they're supposed to be doing. And you're going to see them. When you start working with a government establishment, you will see a lot of people who don't understand what their potentials are. And if you put people in position and they don't understand who they are, they can't lead other people. Now, what happened to that organization is gone, dead. If you have a human being whose head is not functioning, what happened to that human being? It's nobody. If I can't see, I can't hear, my brain is not working, I can't speak, I'm done. If the head is corrupt, everything is done. There's nothing. So you have an organization where the leadership, the head doesn't have a vision, doesn't know how to listen to the people, doesn't know how to communicate to the people, and can't think right. That organization is dead. If you have a nation whose leadership is headless, that nation is dead. It's not going anywhere. The nation is going to remain at the same spot. So when we talk to government agency, we help individuals and the corporation to discover the purpose, potential, and to live in an excellent way to be able to produce what they need to do. The overall vision for our organization is to create a perfect future in an imperfect world. You're not going to see a perfect world. It's not going to happen. But you can create a perfect future for yourself in this imperfect world. So that's what we do as an organization. But today, I really want to talk about blueprint. My name is Sam. In case you don't really know my name is Sam. And I'm not a motivational speaker. People sometimes when I speak, people are like, "Oh, are you a motivational speaker?" No, I'm not a motivational speaker. I teach principles. I don't motivate people. I teach principles. Principles is what governs the universe. If you don't understand the principles, you're going to be a failure. So this is how principles work. If I have this gentleman, he makes 5 sit-ups every day or run 5 miles every day. Because of what he's doing, it's obeying a principle and fulfilling a law that's going to govern his life. If I can't do what he's doing, I can't get his result. So I'm just going to be looking at him and say, dude, I don't know. He's just very successful. I don't know what he's doing. No. If you understand what he's doing and you're doing the same thing, you will get the same result. All right. As we go along, I will show you how principle work, how principle governs the universe. And your blueprints must be made from principles. So I'm not a motivational speaker. I teach principles. Example is this. I like talking to high school students because by the time they get to college, you see they don't really know what they really want to do. 90% of high school students in college don't really know what they want to do because I've spoken to them. I always go to UTEP and speak to people. So I need to make a survey and say, why are you here? What do you want to do? Majority of them say, well, I'm in liberal art, but I really don't know what I want to do. I just still, I'm taking classes. When you left your house and you're coming here, if you don't have the address, you'll be driving around El Paso. You must have a destination before you start your journey. A lot of young people don't have destination. That's why it's very easy for your friend to say, hey, let's go to Walmart. You know why they're calling you to go to Walmart? They know you don't have a destination. They influence you because you don't have a blueprint. But if I'm going to Florida and on my way to Florida and it's going to take me 10 hours, you can't meet me on the way and say, hey, let's go to Dallas. I say, no, 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 no. That's not my journey. I'm not going to Dallas. I'm going to Florida. I have a destination. I have a purpose. I have what I need to accomplish in life. So I can't go to Dallas. That's rerouting my future for me. I don't want to follow you. So a lot of people don't know how to do that because they don't have a blueprint. And that's what we're trying to do to help us understand the blueprint, including families. If you're a family man, if you're a family woman, and you don't have a blueprint for your family, so the government is going to provide you what they want you to do. Corporation is going to teach you how they want you to live. But because you don't have a blueprint, you will follow corporations, you will follow the government, and at the end of the day, you'll be left naked by yourself because you don't have anything. You're only living by the creative dreams of the government and the corporation. But what is your blueprint? That's what you're supposed to live by. So everything is not okay if you are not in charge of your own life. Everything is not okay. It's going to take a while to understand that. Because at the end of the day, somebody's going to be cutting the short, controlling your life and telling you what to do. And we parents, if we don't have that direction, our kids are going to learn from us. All right, my dad, my mom, they work at some kind of work. I'm going to do the same thing. The kids will follow the footprint of the parent, except they are really extremely smart and they have purpose. Before they can say, oh, no, I don't want to do what my parent is doing. I want to do my own thing. So until you're in charge, everything is not okay. Now, the blueprint is going to serve you for the next 25 years, the next quarter of the century. If you have a blueprint, and what I want to show you today is going to serve you for the next quarter of the century. If you understand what I'm going to share with you today, then if you had 25 years to your age, if you're 20 years old today, you have 25 years to your age, that's going to be 45. By the time you're 45, you will be living in the blueprint that you designed for your life today. But if you don't have a blueprint, so the system is going to push you in different direction. The economy is going to push you in different direction. The government is going to push you in different direction because you don't have a blueprint. And I'll show you the difference between those who have a blueprint and those who don't have it. That's to make a whole difference in people's life, a whole difference in the nation and the system that we are living in. So why the blueprint? Let me quickly explain why the blueprint. We all need a blueprint to build a successful future. It provides clarity, accuracy, and better coordination throughout the designs and construction process. Now, what blueprint means is if you can sit down and design your journey, like when you left home today, you said, I'm going to go to somewhere in El Paso. It's going to take me 5 minutes. And when you are driving, you see the turns and you make those turns. It's like a design pathway. If you know your destination and you can design it, which means you can build that future. But if you have not been able to sit down to design that future, you can't get there. That's what the blueprint is about. Before they build the structure here, they have a blueprint. They have the design for it. A lot of people want to live a life that they did not design. It's not possible. So what we end up experiencing is this. Majority of the people in this world, this is what we do. Government that we live with, the government has a blueprint. The corporations have a blueprint. So the government elect individuals who have their own agenda to lead the population. We listen to them. We go to the poll and vote for them. No, They don't have your own blueprint. They have their own blueprint for what they want to accomplish. That's what politicians do. They don't become politicians because of you. They become politicians because of their own dream, because of what they want to become. That's their dream. That's their future. So what they do now is after becoming politician and you vote for them, you are living in their dream, not yours. For every politician you vote for, you're living in the dream and the imagination of that person, not yours. They don't know your purpose, so they don't have your blueprint. It's like you want to build a house, and I don't know your design. And I'm telling you, hey, don't worry, I'm building this house for you. Sir, how did you know what I want to build? We never had this conversation. How many of the politicians did you sit down to have conversation with? None. But they just give you a manifesto and say, hey, vote for me. I'm a very good candidate and I'll help the community. And you agree with what they say. No, they are living their dream, but not yours. So that's why we need to have the blueprint. And if we continue living life without the blueprint, we are going to be living in other people's dream and not our own dream. And that's why I like to have this conversation most with high school students, college students, so they can sit down and understand there's a life and a world outside the classroom. So that's why we need the blueprint. We don't want to live in the reality created by the government and the corporation. I want to create my own reality. But I can't do that if I don't have a design for the future that I want to go to. I'm always going to be looking for a job, and they will tell me what to do, how to live my life, and that's what I'm going to do. But is it their fault? They have a dream. I don't have one. So I'm going to live in their dream. That's how the world is being run. Some have a dream. I don't have one. I have to live in their dream. Let me give you a very good example. And I'll show you when I get to talking about the future. Today, the reason why you are here today is because I have a dream to teach and explain principle. So what you're doing now is to leave your own time and come into my own dream world. Do you understand that? That's why you're here. So I designed this concept a year ago. I said on the 21st of December, I'm going to have an event and I'm going to invite a few people. So I created this design in my own understanding a year ago. Now it's becoming a reality now because I'm able to invite people. That's how the world is being run. People design things and we live in their dreams. If you don't design yours, you're just going to be in people's dream. So the blueprint is for you to understand what are the 4 things you need to design your own future as we forge ahead in the next quarter of the century. So that's what blueprint is about. Now, these are the 4 things we're going to focus on today. And it's not going to take us too long. The 4 things under the blueprint is, what do you control? That's the question you're going to ask yourself. What do you control? What do you control? And I'm going to talk about what is the future. Then, who are the top 1% influencing things globally? And then lastly, I'll quickly talk about how effective is your core. The core indicates collaborations and revelation. And I'll explain that. These are the 4 things you need to understand and to build a strong blueprint for the next quarter of the century. What you control, the future, the top 1% that are influencing things globally. You need to be among those top 1%. If you want to be relevant in the future, you need to find your own space among the top 1%. I don't care what you are doing. You need to find your space among the top 1%. And then you need collaboration and revelation. Let's go to it. Now, what do you control? What do you know? Or what power do you have that will keep you to be relevant? What's the depth of knowledge that you carry? How do you think you're going to run your world if you're not in control of your own life? But what is it that keeps you in control of your own life? What do you know? What power do you have? to make your disappearance. You say, when I said disappearance, you know what it means? Nobody's going to kidnap you, but you're just going to fizzle out from the system. Nobody's going to know who you are. Nobody's going to know your name. No one knows that you exist because you're not in control of anything. No one, even maybe in your streets, nobody knows you because you're not that relevant. You're not that significant. How would they know you? Are you Walmart? Are you Target? Are you Amazon? Nobody knows you. So, in the near future, this is what's going to happen. Let me quickly show you this. People will disappear because they don't control anything. Disappearance means they don't just exist. They just live their life. Nobody knows them. Not significant in society. Not relevant. Some families will cease to exist. They're not going to go into extinction like they died or they didn't exist anymore. But nobody will ever know what that family exists for because they don't control anything. What do you control? That's the number one thing on the blueprint. You must have control. You must have control. That's the basic thing. So, how do you get to control something? The question you ask is what drives the knowledge that you arrive at. What kind of question are you asking yourself? That's what determines the kind of knowledge that you come across. So if you ask yourself this question, what do I control? What power do I have? What knowledge have I gained? What am I in charge of? What relevance am I going to be making in the society? What's significant about me? So, how will people really know who I am? How am I going to impact my society? What do you control? What do you control? The possibilities of life are only accessible through knowledge. Number one thing that you have to control is knowledge. Knowledge is the number one thing you have to have control of. Any man, anyone without knowledge, there is no room for being ignorant in life. You miss a lot of things. If you don't know, you don't know. For example, in my street, I don't know how many millionaires are in my street. Even if I know that my neighbor is a millionaire, doesn't mean I'm going to be a millionaire because I know that my neighbor is a millionaire. If I don't know what he's doing to get his million, I can't become one. I have to have that knowledge. I have to, if I know that my neighbor is a powerful man, I can't be that powerful man if I don't understand what my neighbor is doing to get power. So what do I know? What do I control? The knowledge you have is what determines what you control. The knowledge you have is what determines what you control. If you don't have sufficient knowledge to stabilize yourself, you're not in control of anything. You're not in control of anything. Now, the critical question you must ask yourself is, what do I control? Now, what power do you have? What are the things you think you need to know to become a relevant person in life? It's very important. What knowledge do you have? What knowledge do you have to change things? I want us to pay attention to this. What's the disconnect from your being in control? What is it that disconnects us from being in control as a person? I want to be in control, but I don't know what should I do to be in control. I don't have an idea what should do. Let me tell you this. Now, you said not too many people hate success. A lot of people, majority of the people want to be successful in life, but there's a disconnect somewhere. You know, one thing that disconnects people from achieving what they want is a common issue with so many people. Majority of us have the same problem. What is that disconnect? You want to accomplish something you have not become. You can't. The disconnect is majority of the people want to accomplish and achieve something they have not become. It's not possible. It's not. Until you become a particular thing, you can achieve, you can produce the result of that thing. So, how do you become something? you have to acquire knowledge that empowers you to become that very particular thing before you can produce that result. That's where the disconnect is. If I'm a poor guy, if I'm living in poverty and I want to become a rich person, I want to become a millionaire. So, what do I need to have? What knowledge do I need that changes me from a poverty stricken person to a millionaire? It's not money that makes me a millionaire. You see, that's the issue. It's not money. If I've not become a millionaire by knowledge and by empowerment, if you give me millions of dollars, I wouldn't know what to do with it. I'm going to squander it because I have no idea how to sustain millions, because I've not become that mind and that person that can really handle that kind of fortune. You cannot produce what you have not become. You need knowledge to become empowered so that you can produce the exact result. That's where the disconnect is. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to be, but you don't have what it takes. You need knowledge in that particular area to become that very person that can handle that success before you can produce it. I want to become an engineer. Let me give you an illustration. I want to become a medical doctor. All right. To become a medical doctor will lead me to going to the college. And for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, I'm going to sit down in a classroom, acquire knowledge of medicine, right? And I'm going to go to whatever where they do their internship and spend so many years in practices, maybe 7 years acquiring knowledge of biology, chemistry, medicine, and everything. Now, the knowledge that I spent 7 years to acquire has really empowered me to become that person that can discharge the product of a medical professional. I will never be a doctor if I don't acquire the knowledge of medicine. I'll never be a doctor. I can just wake up and say, I just wish to be a doctor. It doesn't happen like that. I didn't study anatomy. I don't understand anything about the system of the body. I can't just wake up to be. I have to acquire the knowledge. So once I acquire the knowledge, now I'm in control of that aspect of life. So if you come to me, I'll tell you, hey, if you don't take this medication, you're going to die tomorrow. That gives me power. Why? Knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge, if you ignore me, then you're going to die tomorrow because you don't know. I know because I have the knowledge. So I'm in control in that area. That's why you go to the doctor, they can tell you anything. And you know you're not a doctor. What are you going to do? You're going to believe them because they have the knowledge, because they have the control of the situation. A doctor will tell you, don't drink water for 7 days. And you can't say, well, that's the bull crap. I'm going to drink water. No. You will like, the doctor said I shouldn't drink water. Why? Why are you believing the doctor? Because he has knowledge and is in control of that area. So your knowledge is what puts you in control. One first thing under the blueprint is you must acquire knowledge to be in control. If you don't have knowledge, you can't create a blueprint. If you don't have knowledge, you cannot create it, and you cannot be in charge, and you cannot be in control. So you have to have knowledge. Now, before going further, let me show you something that is very important. Your brain is a supercomputer. I love this very much. And why is this very important? If we're talking about knowledge, there's no way we can separate knowledge from the use of our brain. Our brain is one of the faculty that determines how knowledge is being regulated in us, right? All right. So I'm going to explain what David Eagleman says. This guy is a scientist, and he said this thing. This is how knowledge affects your life. I'm going to explain to you how knowledge affects your life. And why is that important? Because the knowledge that affects your life is what determines the status you have right now. Who you are today, as you are seated, as I'm standing here, The only thing that makes you who you are is the depth of the knowledge that you have as a person. That's your survival power, the knowledge that you have. You cannot be better than what you know. Your life cannot be better than the knowledge you have acquired. It's the knowledge that you have acquired that determines your status in society. You can live above what you know, but your brain is what coordinates the knowledge that you have. And let me really show you. So David Eagleman said, everything you've experienced has altered the physical structure of your brain. What does that mean? When you are born, a baby, the brain of a baby is blank. There's nothing. There's no information in the brain of a baby. There's nothing there. The baby doesn't know how to talk. The baby doesn't recognize color. The baby doesn't understand anything. It's just nothing. The brain is blank. So the synapses of the brain is not really settled. Now, at the point in time when the child begins to encounter something, he begins to see the image of the mother. Then he begins to hear some sound. Everything the baby begins to experience begins to alter the physical structure of that baby's brain. Now, from the expression of the genes to the positions of molecules to the architecture of the neuron, now the baby grows in that family, the family origin, the language they speak. I can speak Spanish because my parent didn't teach me. My brain didn't capture that. So it's not a formation in my brain. You see, I don't have that knowledge. My brain didn't receive it. So I can speak another African language because I grew up in an African house. So my brain received that. So my brain experienced my mother's language and my father's language, which is not Spanish. So now my brain received that as a computerized, programming. So I will speak my language if you wake me up. But if you wake me up in the night, I can't say one word in Spanish because it's not in my brain. Now, everything you've experienced, your culture, your friends, your work, every movie you watched, every conversation you had, these have left their footprints in your nervous system. This indelible microscope impression accumulate to make you who you are. Who you are today is based on the things you have experienced in life. I'm telling you, who you are today is based on all those things that you've come across in your life. So let's say for the past 25 years, you've watched a particular movie, you have a particular conversation, every of those things are really stored in your brain. And they change the physical structure of your brain. They determines how you make decisions because that's what experience your brain is encountering all the time. And your brain doesn't know the difference between what is right or wrong. Your brain is just a storage that receives message and go by what it receives. And that's how you store knowledge. That's how people also store trauma. Do you understand? See, when you go, baby, you don't tell baby don't touch the hot thing because they don't know. The brain didn't tell them that's fire, right? The brain can't tell them because they've not experienced it. So the baby goes to play with the fire and put the hand in the fire and it burns. The brain now sends a message, hey, that thing you touched the other time doesn't feel good. The baby want to go back again and do that. The baby's going to do that again until it's registered in the brain that when you see that hot flame, don't go there. If the brain doesn't capture it, the child will continue to go back into that fire and touch the fire because the brain is not receiving any signal that that's fire. But the moment the brain receives and experiences that ordeal, it stores in the brain and the child will see fire. You bring fire close to the child will say, because the brain already recognizes it and is informing the decision of that child. That's how we live our life as an individual. The things we have experienced. Look at this. Your environment forms and shapes your belief system. The mental and spiritual input derived from your nurturing environment contributed to your status. So the environment in which you live create the experience and create how you live your life. It's an established fact that your environment creates your experience, which impacts what goes on in your brain. Everything that goes on in your brain is the encounter you have with your environment. And the environment creates your experience, and your brain receives that experience, and you live with that knowledge. So you are a formation of your environment. You are a formation of your experience. You are a formation of the things you have encountered. That's who you are today. What makes you who you are today are the things you've encountered, which is being propagated to you from your environment. Maybe work. The work will make you a tougher person. Maybe family. Family will make you a lovable person, disciplined. Movies, friends, conversation. That's how your life is being channeled. That's who you are today. That's the knowledge. That's what controls you. And that's why you're in control. But what do you need to do? Now that you want to create a blueprint and you want to design a greater life, you need to acquire knowledge that will be befitting for the future that you're going to. Do we understand that? If you want to change your life, you have to reprogram the knowledge that you have stored in your brain. There's no way you will reprogram your life without a new knowledge. That's why knowledge is the number one thing under the blueprint. Knowledge is number one thing you have to control. Now, if my environment and my system of the world has been influencing my decision, one day I'm just going to say, well, I don't want to go to this direction anymore. I want to change my direction. You can't voluntarily change your direction if you don't change the knowledge that creates your experience. You can't. The knowledge that makes you to walk this direction is still the one that is influencing your decision. Now, for you to reverse that, you need to open up to different knowledge, and you change direction based on the knowledge that you have. That's why people can't make change in life, because they have not made change in the information that they are receiving that is determining the decision they are making in life. That's why it's hard for some people to change, because they live in the same environment. They see the same thing. They speak the same language. They eat the same food. They think the same way. They're going to produce the same result. Until you say, hey, there's a different knowledge that comes into you. And you say, well, I don't want to do the same thing. I'm going to move away from this environment and expose myself to something different. And when you expose yourself to something different, then the experience of your brain changes. Then the knowledge that you have changes. Then you have a control that is different from what has been controlling you before. So your brain believes whatever you tell it. Whatever you expose your brain to, your brain believes. If you tell yourself, I can't do it, your brain says, yeah, I can do it. If you tell yourself, I'm going to be a rock star, your brain tells you, yeah, you can be a rock star. So you have to go into self-talk, acquiring more knowledge to be who you want to be. This, are you disconnected? All right. The next slide that I will show when it comes. Okay. Now, this is how you influence your world. This is how you influence your world. What I just explained the other time is your environment creates your experience, and your experience influences your brain, and your brain determines who you are today. Now, you are not in control. Your environment is controlling you. That's what you don't want to do. This is what you want to do. You want to acquire knowledge. And that knowledge becomes what your brain consumes, and then your brain creates your experience, your reality. And then your experience is what you use to influence the world around you. Don't let your world influence you. Don't let your environment influence you. So like this, if your environment is influencing you, you're not going to be relevant because the environment is telling you what to do. People are creating your dreams for you. But this is what have to happen. You have to possess knowledge. You have to know something, be in control. And then your brain understand your dreams, your creative imagination, your design, your blueprint. And you live that and you create your own experience, which is your own reality. And then you influence the environment. That's how we're supposed to live. That's how we're supposed to influence things. Now, what must you control at minimum? Knowledge is number one. Knowledge. Then you have to have freedom. If you really want to be in control, you have to be in control of your finance. Finance is very important. And we have a special guest here who's going to show us how to create wealth. So I'm not going to take time. I'm going to bring her shortly so she can show us the path to wealth. And I'm going to talk about future right now. What is the future? This is the second thing under the blueprint. The first thing is control of knowledge. The second thing is future. I'm not going to take time here. What is the future? I just want to give us clarity about a misconception. Everybody thinks we talk about the future as if it's calendar. Oh, 2025, 2030 is the future. No, 2025, 2026, 2030 is not the future. Those are just calendar years. A lot of people are going to the future they did not create. If you said 2025 is the future, you're only going into another calendar date, calendar year, calendar month. What is the future is exactly what you create. If you don't create it, you are living in another person's future and somebody's dream. What you're doing is just counting numbers of days. You didn't create nothing. So we have the misconception. We think calendar year is the future. No, calendar year is not the future. So people are going to the future they did not create. If you don't create something, where are you going to? Nothing. 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 They're going nowhere. If you don't create the future, you're going nowhere. You're going nowhere. Let me give you an example. Recently, they just concluded the Olympic. Olympic game is 4 years, every 4 years. Now, people waited. The athletes, they waited for 4 years practicing to participate in the Olympic. Now they said that Olympic is their future. Wait. The Olympic is not the future. The Olympic is a planned event. Did you see that? Every planned event is what you term as the future. If nobody plans the event of the Olympic, what is the future of the athletes? They don't have a future without an Olympic. Do you understand that? If there's no Olympic, if there's no Super Bowl, what is the future of a young child that wants to become a footballer? If there's no NBA, what's the future of the guy that wants to be a professional basketball? So now to be a professional basketball, is it about the months, the days, or the years? No. It's the event that has been created by some people. That's what you anticipate, and you are going to that event. That's what you call the future. So if I go now and say, I want to be the best basketball player, right? And start practicing. All right, what am I looking forward to? I say, oh, in the future, I'm going to be a very good basketball player. Am I looking towards to 2030? No, I'm looking towards an event that makes the future. So let's say now, when I was 10, I want to be a basketball player. And then by the time I was 20, they scrap NBA and there's no basketball again. Where's the future that I'm going to? Nothing. Because it was the event that I was aiming at that is the future. Do you understand? If you don't create an event and plan, you don't have a future. You are only going to live in the future that has been created and planned by somebody. If those people decided to remove that plan away, you don't have a future because you don't plan your own. Do we understand that? Calendar years is what we always think the future is. The calendar year are numbers and not the future. The calendar year is the gift. God gave you the gift of day, month, week to plan. If you don't plan, you don't have a future. If you don't create an event, you have to design that event. Okay, what event am I looking towards? So next year, I'm going to have this same seminar. It's going to be another different environment. And I think I'm going to invite a lot of people. I'm going to go to UTEP. So I'm planning something. That is what is called the future, not the date. The date is just given to you to plan, to project. What you plan and the event you want to see, that's your ability to create the future. So what am I planning? So if you don't have the plan, so the blueprint include you having a planned event. The blueprint include what? You having the planned event. The blueprint, your blueprint is for the future. It's your creation. You have to create it. You must create the future you want. Bring something from the unseen to the seen. That's inspiration. That's idea. Now, let me tell you something. You realize we live in the world that people create dreams and we live in their dreams. I want to go to college. Well, but some people created the college. So I'm going to go and live in the dream of those people who created college, right? I want to become an engineer. Well, some people created the degree. They started that course. They put those knowledge together. So I want to live in their dream. Can I also create mine? Yes. That's what the blueprint is about. You're not living only in other people's dream, but you're also creating a dream that other people can live in. Do you understand that? That's what the blueprint is about. Do you want us to take a break, or she just? I have just two more things to talk about, and then she can come in, and we can leave very early. Now, okay, now you can just go and grab some things if you want. Drink is there, snacks is there, and you just get drinks, water, and something. Oh, I love this so much. I like to talk about the top 1%. Guys, go and grab something before I start talking. Run through this very fast. Now, these first of all, what you control. The second thing is you have to create a future. This is the third thing. This is very important. This is very, very important. The top 1%. Oh, I've taken time to study and try to understand why do you have the top 1% of the population that are really successful and the 99% are really at the bottom? What is the problem? So, see, we live on the same planet, we breathe the same air, and we have the same hour daily to plan whatever we desire. So, we're subjected to the same universal principle. Every one of us, we live in the same principle. The sun comes 24 hours in the day. Now, it's the same across the globe. Nonetheless, only the top 1% influence things in the world. Only the top 1%. Why is it only top 1% that influence things in the world? Who are they? And what are they in control of? Now, what makes them to be significant is because they plan and create the significant event of the future. Now, when I talk about the top 1%, I'm talking about people whose signature is wealth, influence, and power. To be the top 1%, you have to have control of wealth, influence, and power. So we have 5 categories here. The first is the billionaires and millionaires. These people control money and assets. They influence politics. They have wealth, they have influence, and they have power. This is the number one people of the top 1% of the world. Top 1% in the world. Not everybody is a millionaire. Not everybody is a billionaire. We have only few. Why? But there is a reason why these people are there. That's what we're trying to say. If you understand the principle that brought them to that level, you can be there and sustain it. What about the second category, the politicians and government? These are leaders of nations. These are ministers. These are the people we vote for. They make decisions that influence what we do. They decide on what the nation, the direction of the nation. So they have power. They have influence. They make decisions technically on our behalf, but really they didn't really have conversation with us before they make the decision. So then the CEO and corporate executive, these guys determine the economies of a nation. They determine the global trade. They determine what's happening in industry. They determine if people are really going to have enough money to spend or few. These guys, they have wealth, they have influence, and they have power. The CEOs and the corporation, they control a lot. Then we have the media mogul. These guys forcefully drive narrative. They determine how they want you to think. When you go watch CNN now, and CNN tell you, hey, Biden is not a good man. They put that narrative in my mind. Oh, I watched yesterday, they said Biden is not a good man. I don't even know. This and this. These guys influence things, and they have money. They have wealth, and they have power, because there is a power that comes from the media, from what you hear. And they have the philanthropists and the activists. Why are those people in the top 1%? That's their signature. Wealth, influence, and power is a signature of the top 1%. If you have a blueprint, you will be among the top 1%. Why did I say that? What are the rules that bring them to that top 1%? The same rules control the universe, the same. If you're in India, it's the same rules. If you're in America, the principle of making money is the same thing. Universally, everywhere in the world, the principle is the same thing. But individuals apply them differently. If you know and have used the rules, you will be among the top 1% influencing things globally. Do you know the rules? Do you know how people become millionaires and billionaires? Do you know how people become CEOs of corporations? Do you know what makes people to be the top 1%? Do you know if you're a student and you have your PhD, you become top 1% in academics? Just PhD puts you at the top 1%. That's the principle. You just understand that's by statistics. So what are the rules? This top 1%, they devote themselves to a more extraordinary course, leaving their blueprint. You will never see a millionaire or billionaire that said, I became a millionaire by mistake. I just slept, I woke up, I didn't know what to do, I just hit million. No, that's not the way it happens. They design a blueprint. They know where they're going. They know what rules they want to live by. They have this mindset of a billionaire, a mindset of a millionaire. Even the politicians, they know how they talk. Politicians don't talk anyhow. They know how to talk to canvas people. They have ideas, they have principles. Everyone. So this top 1%, they develop concepts that change things. They change things they are thinkers and believers. They are thinkers and believers. They know there's something they want to achieve and they believe it. And they go for it. And they put all their stuff there. And it becomes successful. They become the top 1% in wealth, influence, and power. They create values. They also create the event that the future centers on. Everybody wants to live in the dream that they created. That's why we go to Walmart every time to buy food. Because somebody have that idea. And that person, Walmart family is one of the top 1% influencing things. If Walmart said they don't have some things, it's hard to get things if Walmart is not selling them. So they influence things. They have power. They have wealth. And also what else do? They change lives in the best way possible. Employ people, change the society, change the landscape. They see dreams and they fulfill them. That's why they are top 1%. It's not everybody that can do this. These are the rules that bring people into the top 1%. And lastly, this I want to talk about. What is CUR? Collaboration and collaboration and revelation. This is what I call the Wi-Fi. 3 things I've talked about now. You have to be in control, knowledge. You have to be able to create your future. You have to be among the top 1% of those influencing things globally, which your signature is going to be wealth, influence, and power. And lastly, you have to understand what is collaboration and revelation. I call collaboration and revelation as the new Wi-Fi. Listen, you sit down in your house. No matter how much you know, no matter how much you've read, you cannot become that thing until you have a networking. So when you turn on the Wi-Fi, do you know that's access to the global information and knowledge? Wi-Fi is access to global information and knowledge. So for you to be, as an individual, if you have knowledge, you have to know how to collaborate with people of same mind. So we need principles and relationship to progress through the uncertainties of life. People of like minds are critical to our success. People that think like you. People that want what you want. People that are going to the same destination that you're going to. So these people, now we can't do without those people because those whose idea resonate with ours and who share our perspective of life. We must build along with those who understand the requirement to stay above the limitations. You have to find people who understand your passion. You have to find people who understand your inspiration, who understand your idea. That's why every innovation that we are really working and living and experiencing and enjoying now, you see people sit down with their friends and they come with idea and start. Somebody like Elon Musk. He didn't start everything by himself. He sat down with some of his friends. And the first thing they discovered was PayPal, right? And after that, they sold PayPal. And then he went into doing stuff. So you need collaboration. You need collaboration. I said, yeah, God is not interested in a soldier, but in an army. You can't. Everybody that's in the military know you can't go to war by yourself. You have to be in a group. So that's the way it is. No matter how much you know, you have to what? Find people of the same mindset to collaborate with and network with them. Now, that's just acquired knowledge to realize a specific transformation. That's the function of collaboration and revelation. Now, you have also need to understand that the treasure of this world is in the heart of people. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. I asked one day, what if there is a diamond mine somewhere and there's a gold mine and there are no people there? What is the usefulness of diamond and gold and precious stones without people? It's useless. So the diamond and gold is not really the value. It's the people that puts value on those things. So the treasure of the world is in people. People are the one that excavates and went to the mine and bring out the diamond and take it to the manufacturing place and turn it to something and make diamond to be diamond. Without people, diamond is useless. It's just going to be one of the stones there. So it's the mind of man that is the treasure. You need people of like minds to create your blueprint. You can't do it by yourself, except your idea is just little. But if you have a big idea that's why you don't see the billionaire doing things by themselves. That's why they have network. They have network. They look for idea. That's why they can come to you and say, hey, oh, you started this thing. Let me pay you 20 million for it because they need your idea. They will buy your idea. They know they need that collaboration. So that's what we need. And that's the last thing I want to talk about. So this is it. The corporation will call it merger. The military call it intelligence sharing. Nations call it bilateral relationship. And this is what we call it, strategic consolidation of intelligent prospect and program. You have to bring people of like minds together who are innovative, who are going to the same place, and who understand prospects and create a program. That's how you change the world. That's how you influence things. You can't do it by yourself. You have to find people of like minds. The person you become and the people you build are the world you create. So that's it. 4 things for the blueprint. Know your areas of control. What do you control? Have that knowledge. Second thing, create the future. Create the future. Don't go to the future you did not create. You're going to nowhere. You're just going to calendar years. Then understand the rules of the top 1% and apply them. It's the same rule. It's the same rule. We have millionaires in El Paso. Just understand, what are they doing to make millions? Learn it. That's the knowledge we need. And then discover your connectivity. Who are you collaborating with? Who are you networking with? What inspiration do you have? Expose it to people of the same mindset and let them help you to build something bigger than yourself. That's the blueprint. The knowledge, the future you create, becoming the top 1%, and collaboration. And that's going to be for today for my teaching. And I want to thank you guys for taking your time, coming to listen to us. And I believe we're going to have a future together in this journey. Thank you so much. Let's wait for Mrs. Annalita. And this class is especially for this young child, because once you start early, I'm telling you, what she's going to share with us, if I knew before I joined the military, when I got out of the military 12 years after, I would be better. It's not difficult. It's just a simple rule. All right, so let's see later. Yeah.